Right, so yeah, welcome everybody, and just thinking about where we're going to be going next. We've got our next transformation show, government transformation show, coming up in November, and it's time really to reflect back. You know, this time last year, in the midst of COVID, we're all wondering what transformation for government was all going to be looking like. And during the last 12 months, we've had our couple of other shows where we've really kind of drilled in on what's been happening in terms of change. And actually, the challenge over the last year is how do you keep pace with it all? It's been going so fast. The political environment's been going so quickly. We've had the awesome experience of how rapidly we've managed to get to grips with the global pandemic and bring it partly under control and move forward. But during all this time, we've had a period of having to borrow 400 billion, pounds to fund an economic crisis that the government's going to have to come out the other side of and start paying for. So in amongst that, we had a great session, great couple of weeks over the Government Data Show, when we were looking at all the challenges and the issues around information governance, information assets, ethics, AI, and all that fantastic stuff. So I think with our transformation show coming up, for me, the headline items I think are going to be great. I think we're all getting what data is all about now. How are we going to make it land to deal with these massive challenges going forward for the next 5, 10, 20 years, you know, in terms of funding coming out of the crisis over the last 18 months. But also, government's changed massively. You know, the whole kind of work-life balancing and what does that mean on how governments are going to operate, effectively government departments, how they're going to work with each other. But still out there is that conundrum of health, local government, central government, and how they collaborate with each other to deliver local versus national services. And also tied up with that, of course, is the UK is 4 countries. And what's different and what's coming through those devolved administrations that we're seeing that people are learning from each other, and dare I say it, a little bit of competition in some of those areas about who's doing what best. So I think as we go into the November session, it'll be great to surface some of those conversations. And in particular, of course, hearing Francis Moore's reflections will be great as the kickoff to explore what is government going to look like as we go forward, and what does this mean for the machinery of government? Key element that we always cover off in the transformation show. I think the related sessions that we've got around focusing in parallel with the transformation show, the CX show, and also the local government show, I think is a great way of complementing, but equally focusing in on some particular areas of interest. I think CX is here to stay. Customer experience and being customer centered is one of the single biggest things that I've seen come out over the last year or so, where government and public sector more widely is recognizing we're here to serve. We're not here to tell. And I think that's great. It's healthy. Let's build on that in those 3 sessions. So CX is going to be a great opportunity to dig into that a bit deeper. I think digging further into the data and the data and analytics side of things that we did in the government data show through transformation, I think is going to be a very, very strong feature. And the other thing I think that's front and center in all our lives at the moment is the recognition, the explicit recognition, the proactive work going on around diversity and inclusion, where people are openly challenging whether or not we are truly open and fair in terms of access to opportunities for people in work and life. And I think in public service, that has really surfaced over the last 12 months and hopefully will continue to do so. I remember from my own career way back in the early 80s, you know, that the civil service was viewed as having a very, very thick glass ceiling that unless you came from Oxford or Cambridge, you couldn't be a senior civil servant. And I've seen how that's moved on, but we've got so much further to go. So yeah, exciting times going into the transformation show and the CX show and the local government show.